G'day Trailblazers, my name is Cam, and in today's video we'll be continuing our conversation on the TikTok lead capture ads, this time talking about how to integrate those newly captured leads into your Salesforce CRM or data warehouse platform. So in the previous TikTok lead capture integration video, I covered how to set up the lead capture form and get those leads coming in directly from TikTok into your Marketing Cloud instance. The only problem is that the lead capture forms, both the TikTok and the Facebook lead capture form varieties, use an external ID or email address as the subscriber key, which is not going to work for most customers who have an existing Marketing Cloud instance who use a different kind of subscriber key. For example, an ID made from their CRM, loyalty, or data warehouse. So the problem we have to solve is, how can we get these brand new leads coming in from Facebook or TikTok into our Marketing Cloud and into our CRM so you can conform to our existing subscriber key management process? Now, luckily for us, and in true Salesforce Marketing Cloud fashion, there are a few different ways we can go about achieving this. Now, I've gone ahead and I've chosen 4 ways which come to my mind to solve this for most business and end user requirements. So let me step you through the 4 ways I think you could solve this to get your lead captures into your Salesforce CRM. The first way is a simple extract and transfer activity in Automation Studio. We can take our TikTok leads, which go into our TikTok leads data extension, write some simple SQL to select the new records each day into a staging data extension, then use an extract and transfer activity in Automation Studio to send that CSV file to our destination server, which could be our Salesforce CRM or a third-party CRM solution. The second option is Journey Builder. We could simply write a Journey Builder activity using SQL to create a data extension entry event in Journey Builder, then use the Create Lead or Create Contact activities in Journey Builder to create a brand new lead or contact for us. A very easy way to do it with very little code indeed. The third option is to use the AMPscript Create Salesforce Object function wrapped inside a server-side JavaScript script activity in Automation Studio. This one's a bit more code heavy, but it has some really good pros to those cons, so we'll go through that one in detail later as well. And the fourth option is a server-side JavaScript activity in Automation Studio, which uses a HTTP post function to call a REST API, allowing us to send our leads directly into our third-party CRM, loyalty, or data warehouse solutions. So there we have 4 simple ways you can go about integrating our TikTok lead and Facebook lead captures into our Salesforce CRM solution. Now, these 4 are not the exhaustive list, of course. There are many more ways you could do this in Marketing Cloud, including using other systems, such as your MuleSoft or Data Cloud or otherwise. But for today, we'll focus on these 4 methods. So let's dive in and see how each of these 4 works, talking through their pros and cons and why they might be useful for you in your business. Now, before we can get stuck into our solution in Marketing Cloud, we first have to make sure we have all the right data required to create a new lead or contact in Salesforce CRM. And to do this, I have jumped into my Salesforce CRM and gone to create a brand new lead. And I can see here my required fields. I do require the last name and the company name to be filled out to successfully create this brand new lead. So we'll have to go into my TikTok lead ad or my Facebook ad and create those fields to make sure I am capturing that information so I can then put it through my Marketing Cloud solution to make sure all the required fields are there to create the brand new Salesforce lead. So with the new fields added to my TikTok lead form, I can jump back into Marketing Cloud and go into my TikTok lead ads integration, go into my form and choosing my newly updated form from TikTok. Then choose Next. I can choose the subscriber key to use for these new form fields. I'm going to use the lead ID for this example. I can choose that and then click Next. On the next screen, I can make sure that I send some test data to the newly created data extension. This ensures that I will see some records populated for the brand new fields I just added to my TikTok lead form. And with the sample data added, I can now go into my Email Studio, into my data extensions, and find my TikTok lead form data extension. You can find my one record here, go into my records and make sure we have those new fields populated, and we do. Required field for my Salesforce lead, including country, email, first name, last name, and phone number are all there, which means if I try and use this data to create a brand new Salesforce lead, it should succeed because these are the required fields. So with our required fields for the Salesforce lead all complete, let's now jump into our first solution option, the extract and transfer activity. So for our extract and transfer activity, we'll be taking our TikTok data from our TikTok data extension, using some SQL to put it into a staged DE, and then use an extract and transfer activity to send it to either our Salesforce CRM through a data loader or to an external FTP, which can then be loaded into an external CRM data warehouse or loyalty solution. Before we do this, I want to talk more about this SQL and stage solution here. We've got a small diagram up to make this a little bit easy to understand. So the issue is we don't want to be sending through complete downloads of the entire TikTok database of our leads every day. We'd be making duplicates if we did. So you have to make a delta process, a change process. We only want to send through data that's changed from the last time we sent through data. Just the new records, not the existing ones. So here we have our TikTok data. We have our first day of data that's coming through from our TikTok platform into our data extension in Marketing Cloud. And we want to send that first day of data into our CRM over the side here. So to do this, we want to make a couple of SQL activities to stage and log what we have. So the first thing we'll do is make a stage. What our SQL will do, it's going to compare our lead data extension with a log data extension. So we'll compare our leads with our log. Now, of course, there's nothing in our log right now. So of course, the difference is our leads minus our log equals what? Well, our day one data. There is nothing in the log, so the entire day one data can go into our stage. Now, once that's done, our second SQL will take that stage data that we just loaded and dump it into our log, just like that. So we'll copy our data from day one and put it into our log. Easy as that. We can then use the extract activity to send our stage data directly into our CRM. And now along comes day number 2. So we'll take our day 2 data from TikTok, and of course goes into our TikTok lead data extension. Now the same process runs again. What is our lead data extension minus our log? Well, the difference is day 2. So we clear out our stage and we put day 2 into our stage, our brand new difference, just the day 2 data. And then of course we take our day 2 data and add it to our log. So we take day 2 and it goes into our log just like that. And then day 3 comes along. We clear out our data, and once again our day 3 data comes from TikTok and goes into our TikTok lead DE. Once again, SQL runs our lead DE minus our log. The difference is day 3. So our day 3 data gets copied and put into our stage data extension. We then once again run this stage into the log data extension, taking that data and putting it into our log. As you can see, ongoing, we now have a daily delta process to take the difference between our lead data extension and our log, of course representing the total data sent to our third-party or Salesforce CRM solution. So jumping into Marketing Cloud now, let's make our new data extensions for our solution. The two we need is the stage and the log data extension. So we'll start off by going create a new standard data extension. Of course, we're going to use an existing data extension. You can jump in and go to our folder and select the TikTok lead ad data extension. I've got one here in my lead capture folder, and here it is. I've called mine my form updated fields. Of course, yours will be whatever your form is called. And rename this one to stage. We'll go next, next, and next again, leaving everything as it is. This will be our stage data extension. That done, we'll do the same thing again, this time making our log data extension. Once again, using existing and navigating through our folders to our existing data extension. I'll choose my stage one and I'll rename this one to our log. With our data extensions complete, we can jump into Automation Studio and make ourselves our brand new automation. We'll jump in and click on New Automation, and we'll start off by using a schedule activity, so we can trigger this to go every day. And the activities we need, of course, for our solution is going to be the SQL to compare our original TikTok leads data extension with our log, and a second one to transpose our stage data into our log. So we'll start off by creating the comparison SQL. So we'll take an SQL activity, drag it in, and make ourselves a brand new SQL. Go create, and we'll call this one the TikTok stage. And we'll go next. And so our SQL is going to be as follows. We're going to select, of course, all of our records from what? Well, we're going to be choosing our records from our TikTok data extension. So we'll go into our folder, into our lead capture. Of course, we'll pick up our lead capture original. Here it is here. So we can copy the name of that data extension and paste it in. to get all records from there. We're going to call this one our A table. We're then going to left join and join in our log table. So we can choose this one here, our log. Left join in our log, and of course our B table on. And what is the joining field for these two tables? Well, between A and B, we can have a look at our data extension and check for ourselves. I'm pretty sure that we had the lead ID was our unique field. So we can use our lead ID. So let's go on b.leadID is equal to a.leadID. There we are, just like that. So it's going to join those two tables together on lead ID. Now we do want to choose all of our records from A, removing those from B. So when we left join, we're going to left join and say where we can't find this record in B. That is, on the left join is null. So we want where the b.leadID is null. So choosing everything from the A table, joining on B, where B is null, where this value from A cannot be found in B. So we'll check it out for ourselves, make sure it's okay. And yes, we do have a select all, but that's fine. We'll leave it as it is. We'll go next. And of course, we'll be updating this, or overriding, should I say, replacing the existing records with our new records into our stage table. So that will jump into our lead capture and into our stage, just like that. Next, so picking up from form, comparing against log, dumping into stage. Perfect, and we'll go finish. And with the first query done, we can now jump into our second query, which will be doing our log, taking our stage data and pasting it into our log. So once again, we're doing SQL activity, we'll go choose, we'll create new activity. This one's going to be our TikTok log. We'll go next, and for this one, we're going to be taking all the stage data and upserting it or appending it into our log. So we'll say select all from, and from where? Well, once again, navigate through our folders to our stage data extension. So from stage as our A table, and we're simply going to select all those records and dump it into our log. So we shouldn't have to do any other comparisons or any other checks. So with that done, go check, and of course, yes, as we know, we have no where statement and we are using select all, but that's fine. We'll go next. Now to prevent errors, we can choose the update method, which means it will add a record if none is found previously, but we could choose append as well. But for safety, I'm going to choose the update method, just in case. Jump in to our destination. Of course, we're taking our stage data and putting it into our log. And we'll go next. All right, and finish. And there are two activities. The first thing we can do now is to make sure these work. Of course, we do have a row existing. Call this one our TikTok DE automation. And we'll go save. So we do have one row existing in our TikTok data extension. We should then be able to stage it and then log it. So with our automation saved, let's go run once. We'll run these two activities. So our automation is on the way and running right now, and hopefully it should be complete. We'll go refresh and complete. Perfect. So we should have now taken our one record from our data extension test. It should have gone into our stage and then copied from our stage into our log. So we should see one record in all three data extensions. So jump into our data extensions. Let's have a look. We of course had our original value, and I'll refresh this table and we should see 111. We do 111, perfect. So that one record has gone from our form update fields into our stage and then into our log. Back over in Automation Studio, we can jump back into our workflow and finish off this activity by making a data extract activity. We can now extract that stage. In fact, we can put this one over here if we want to. Extract the stage data extension into our safe house. So we can simply do a new data extract. We can say TikTok DE extract. We're going to, of course, do an extract type of a data extension extract, just like that. And pattern can be our TikTok leads.csv. So we'll take that TikTok leads, go next. Of course, we're going to choose our data extension. Now to do this, we're going to go in and choose our stage data extension and get the data extension key. There it is there. And there is our DE key, column delimited, and we're going to include the headers. Next and finish. Perfect. Now with that extract done, let's go back in. We're going to get the name. There we are, TikTok leads.csv. Next. We can then do a transfer activity to move that CSV from our safe house into one of our folders. Now, of course, I don't have a third-party FTP to transfer to right now, but I can go in and I can simply move file from safe house. We'll call this our TikTok lead move. Next, we're going to move our TikTok CSV from our safe house into our FTP. Simple as that. We'll go next and finish. And so now we should be able to take that extracted TikTok CSV and move it into our FTP in Marketing Cloud. If you had a third-party FTP to move it to, such as a CRM, data warehouse, or a loyalty engine, you could use a file transfer location. In your file transfer activity, you could simply target that external FTP site to move that file to. As simple as that. But now though, let's see and make sure it works. For our internal location here for the FTP, we'll go run once. Of course, we already have our stage now log completed, so we can just run the TikTok DE extract and then the lead move. And we can see the automation has finished with the extract and transfer activities completing successfully. And jumping into our FTP, we can see in our imports folder, the destination that we chose for the transfer activity. We can see our TikTok lead ads.csv with hopefully our one row right there extracted. Now that we've done an end-to-end check on all the activities, we could jump back into Automation Studio into our workflow, and we could configure our schedule as needed. Now we could do a start date and then set a, say, 2 AM in the morning. We could set this to repeat every day, ending never, which means that every day at 2 AM in our local time, we would be extracting that data extension and transferring those files to our FTP location. So as you can see, the data extract and transfer activity is a great solution to move your TikTok leads from Marketing Cloud into your third-party FTP solution, which can then be loaded into your CRM, loyalty, or data warehouse. But what about if you want a solution that does not use an FTP? Well, for that, we can jump into Journey Builder and use the Salesforce CRM, create new lead or contact activities in our Journey Builder. So let's jump in and have a look. Over in Journey Builder now, let's jump in and create a new journey to use our Salesforce CRM add contact and add lead activities. So I'll jump in and go create new journey. We'll choose a new multi-step journey and go create. Now, of course, we'll be using the data extension entry source. So we'll drag a data extension over onto our canvas and select our data extension to enter on. We go select data extension. Of course, we can choose one of our data extensions that we built from our previous solution. Now for this one though, I'm going to show you how to use the high watermark. That means to only add new records that have not been seen in the journey previously. So I'll jump into my folders, I'll jump into my lead capture. I'm going to choose my original lead form data extension, that's one that's created by TikTok, as my source. I'll go summary. Of course, we have no contact filters on this data extension entry event, and so we'll go done. Now, once that's completed, we can then choose our schedule. Now for our schedule, this way we don't need to use an automation activity. We can choose this to be a reoccurring activity. So we'll choose a reoccurring automation, and this one's going to be on a schedule of daily. So we can say this will be a daily activity. It's going to start tomorrow at midnight. It's going to go every day, ending never. Now for the evaluation, of course, we have to put some new rules in because we don't want to go through and reload the entire data extension every day. We just want what's called the high watermark. Just the new records. We can choose new records, and of course, because we already have one record in this data extension, we're going to choose new records in this file. If you wanted to make this a looking forward journey, that is not to activate immediately, but to activate later, we could choose the only new records after we set this journey live. But for now, I'll choose all records, and again, the new records only option, the high watermark. With that done, I will go summary, and that is now our schedule complete. The next step is to put these records in our data extension into our journey canvas and to create the record in our Salesforce CRM. To do this, we can jump down into our Sales and Service Cloud activities and choose the lead option. Drag a lead activity on, and we can edit that lead activity. This allows us to add or edit a lead inside of our Salesforce CRM. We're going to choose, of course, to create a new record. So we'll choose the create new. We can go next. Now for creating our new record, we of course have some required and recommended fields in our Salesforce org, which we discovered earlier. We have our company name, our last name, first name, and probably of course our email address and otherwise. So let's go through and make sure that we add the values in that we want to create for our new lead record. Now we didn't make a company name just yet because we didn't want to put that field into our form on TikTok. So in our company, we can go in here and put text. And we could call this one our TikTok lead as our company. And go save. So we now have a company name. The last name, of course, we have that in our journey data. So we can jump into our journey data and we can choose our last name value just like that. We'll go save. And the first name, same thing, into our journey data and choose our newly added first name field. We can go save. And of course, for the company name, you could have chosen something else. You could have put the company field in your TikTok lead ad. We could have chosen the campaign name on TikTok as well. You've got lots of options here, whatever's needed for your business. And we do want those to go down here and choose our email and phone. So find our email field, there it is. Go journey, make sure we add our email in. Perfect. Save. We of course have a phone number as well for mobile phones. Mobile phone, journey data, and mobile phone, just like that, and save. So now we have all those fields coming in, which we need for our new lead. We can go next, and here's our summary. In our new lead activity, we're going to be adding these fields in. Looking good, and so we'll go done. Just like that, we now have our create lead activity in our journey canvas. Now there's one more step I'd like to add to make a log of the activities that we do on this journey canvas. That's to make a contact update activity to make sure that we record inside Marketing Cloud all the records that we sent from our TikTok lead data extension into our Salesforce CRM. This is the activity here, the contact update activity. Now for this one, we can update a data extension to make a log of all the records that have been sent through our CRM. So to do that, we'll jump back into our data extensions and make a new data extension. Again, we're going to be choosing a standard data extension, choosing existing, and jumping through our folders into our lead activities. Here it is here. I'm going to choose one of our existing data extensions, all the same structure, of course. We'll go OK. We'll call this one our JB log, our journey builder log. We'll go next, and create. Of course, all the same structure here. So our JB log will be all the records that we sent through into Salesforce CRM. What this means, if there's an error that occurs between the records coming into the data extension and going through this activity, they won't get added to the update contact. So if you find a discrepancy between the original data extension and our log data extension, we know something's gone wrong here. Later on, we can use SQL or otherwise to extract the difference and try and update those records manually. So what we can do now is modify our update contact activity to make this log work. So what we'll do is we'll target our new JB log data extension, just like this, into our data extensions, and JB log. There we are. And of course, we're going to update some values. Now for our log, do we have any required fields in our log? Let's just double check. So our lead ID, of course, and all the rest is nullable. Fantastic. So let's do the date collected, and we'll do our lead ID. We'll leave the rest blank for now. We could, of course, edit this data extension and drop those fields out if you want to, but we'll make it nice and simple and just add these two for now. So date collected and the lead ID. So back in our journey, we'll choose the date collected and make that the current date. So we have a log of exactly when they came through. We'll also add in, of course, that lead ID, that primary key value. And for our primary key value, we want to add in the subscriber key or that lead ID from the data extension. Now, neat trick here, we can actually use some mustache code to put in that lead ID. You can see here in the help documentation, we can actually use the event and the event ID. You can see here event and the API event ID, followed by the field name to put in that dynamic field. Now, how do we get this event ID? Well, neat trick, we can jump back into our journey builder, and we'll actually leave it as just that for now. We'll go summary and done. I can jump back into my lead activity. We've actually got the fields we need in our lead activity here. So once this comes in, we'll go yes, next. And you would have seen, if we edit our name here, there it is. There's the code that we need to add in. So lucky for us, we can actually go and get our lead ID. Now we know it's lead space ID. So I'm going to copy this code like that, go cancel and go cancel. Leave that as it is. Go back into update contact record here. We're going to edit those attributes, add back in our lead ID and paste. That's not going to be last name. We, of course, want lead ID. So I go LEAD space ID. And there we are with the quotes on either side. We can go summary and done. So now, for every record that goes through the create lead activity tile here, if they succeed, they'll then go into the update contact and be added as a new record into this brand new JB log data extension. As easy as that. So with our journey complete, let's now modify this end tile to remove the 1 day down to just 1 minute. Done. We can validate our journey. First, we'll save this one as our TikTok lead JB. We'll save our journey. Perfect. And then we'll validate to make sure it's all working nicely. Of course, entry mode. Now we do want a no re-entry. It should be just a one-time entry. And we don't need to worry about sending any emails, so we can leave the rest as it is. Done. Revalidate. Beautiful, looking good. So our journey is all validated, and we can now go ahead and activate the activity. Now, if we did this, it would of course schedule to run at midnight, which we don't want for now. We want to test it and make sure it works. So I'm going to jump back into my schedule and change the schedule from a once per day into a run once on activation. I'll choose that and choose select, which of course means that on activation, we are going to activate this journey. So I'll go done. It's done. I can now save my activity. And let's test it out. Let's see if we've configured all the activities just right. So we can go activate. So I'm going to recheck our journey, and it's looking good, and activate. Perfect, all done. So with our journey now running, we should see our one record come through from our original TikTok data extension through the create lead activity into our Salesforce org. If that passes, it'll then update them and add them to our JB log. Then of course, they will finish the journey. So let's have a look at the progress and see if it's running so far. We can check our entry results, and we have 1 contact accepted, good. We can refresh it, and how are we looking? 1 in, lovely. So we should see 1 record now going through the stream. What we could do, of course, is jump back into our dashboard, and we can see our JB lead. Go back in. Yep, there's 1 record going through, hopefully. So we can have a look at our data extension as well, our JB log. And do we see a record in there? Yep, we do, a JB log. So our record has definitely gone through our journey. Let's jump into our Salesforce CRM and have a look for them. So before we jump into our CRM, we know we have to look for our 1 record. And so we'll jump into one of our data extensions and check our records and get the details we need. Of course, we're looking for our lead ID with the 273 starting with. Of course, with the last name of Doe, first name Jane, and test email address at mail.com. So we can jump into our CRM and have a look. We're in our sales console, and straight away we have a new lead assigned, Jane Doe. Good start, good start. Let's jump into our leads and make sure for ourselves. Recently viewed, and let's go to today's leads. There we have it, Jane Doe TikTok lead with our email address coming through. So as you can see, the Journey Builder solution is a great no-code and easy to follow way to get your leads from Marketing Cloud into your Salesforce CRM as either a lead or a contact object. There is one big downside though. As you saw, we used the data extension. In our data extension, we had the lead ID as our primary key, and we used lead ID as a subscriber key. And to facilitate Journey Builder, we do have to create contacts in Journey Builder, which we are then setting through into our Salesforce CRM. So as a result, our test lead with this lead ID, this throwaway contact ID, is actually created inside our contact builder as a contact. And what that means is that this throwaway lead ID has been made as a contact as it was going through the journey. And now once it's completed the journey and gone into Salesforce CRM, it'll go through the correct process and be given a correct lead ID. Jump into our record here in CRM, and so they do actually have a real lead ID as well. This means this record will have 2 records inside of our Marketing Cloud. It's going to have its throwaway TikTok lead ID and its correct Salesforce CRM lead ID. This means you will have to do some lead and contact ID cleanup. If you go into your contact builder and make an automation to pick up all those throwaway lead IDs and make a contact deletion process. This can be quite complex for some new users, But for most existing users of Marketing Cloud, you may have an existing contact deletion process. So you could simply add these throwaway records to your regular contact deletion process. Now I know what you're thinking. Is there a way to get around the contact creation process in Journey Builder so you can use this solution without creating duplicate contacts? Well, unfortunately there isn't, as you must have a contact to run through your journey. However, we can leverage a similar solution methodology, but using some code rather than some clicks. Enter solution number 3. Using the AMPscript, create single Salesforce object within an SSJS activity in Automation Studio. So we can jump into Automation Studio and jump into our existing TikTok DE automation that we made using the existing stage and log data extensions. We can drop out the extracts, we're not going to use those. We can instead leverage these existing assets to make a new solution. This one's going to create a script activity and use some SSJS and some AMPscript. So we'll go ahead, make ourselves a new script activity, and we'll drop it just in here. And we'll go choose and create a brand new script activity. So let's call this script the SSJS TikTok. And we'll jump into our SSJS code. Now I do have a SSJS base plate that we can use. So I can jump into my GitHub gists and can go through and find my gist for the SSJS base plate. There it is. This of course contains our main script code, our core loader, and a try function with an error catcher. So let's jump in and grab that base plate back into Automation Studio and paste, and here is our base plate for our code. Now the first part of our code is going to be to retrieve our data extension. And because this is going to run every time we schedule this, we're going to use our staging data extension that we used from our first solution. So I have to make some SSJS code to retrieve the rows in that DE. Now luckily for me, I've got my SFMC companion installed, so I can jump into my side panel and choose my SFMC companion. And jump in here, we're going to choose the data extension retrieve. There we are, so go rows retrieve. And we're going to use this sample code here, so I can copy that and paste. Now to make this work, of course, we have to modify the code. We want to use the data extensions key, so we can jump into our data extensions, we can jump into our folder. We're going to find our stage DE, there it is there with our records in it. We'll go stage DE and copy the key. Back into our script, and there's our key. This is going to be our stage. We then want, of course, to retrieve that stage. So stage birthday DE, retrieve. This is going to be our leads. So we now have our leads retrieved. And once our leads are retrieved, then we want to cycle through each of those leads. So we'll make a for loop to cycle through our leads. And our for loop is going to read for something. We're going to do a function. Now for our something, we're going to do a var I starting at 0. And then as the I is less than the leads.length, the length of the leads object, then we are going to increment the I each time. So as we cycle through our leads, we'll increment starting from 0. Now, what do we want to do once we have this? Well, luckily for us, we can use the treat as content function in SSJS to treat some AMPscript as AMPscript within our SSJS function. But to do that, we of course need a payload to treat as content. So let's go ahead and make a AMPscript variable. Go AMPscript. We're going to build out our create Salesforce object payload. So to do this, of course, jump back to my function search here and go create Salesforce object. There it is. And we can use our sample code here. So our Salesforce object will look a bit like this. We are going to create Salesforce object. Let's just go set create is equal to, and drop off the other functions there. We're going to make a lead object, a lead with a couple of fields in it. So to make this lead work, we of course need to get the fields we need. Now our lead object will have a first name and last name, we know that. We also want to have the company, we know that's one of our required fields in my instance. So we go company. And we also want the mobile and the email. So let's put in some extra fields there. We're going to want the company, yes, and then email. There we are. And we also want the mobile. Now we don't know exactly what those fields are called. So what we can do is we can jump back into our Salesforce CRM. We can find our existing lead. We can jump into that lead. We can use our Salesforce Inspector or the new Salesforce Inspector Reloaded, and we can show the data to make sure we have the correct API field names. So email is called email. We do have our test email here. Good. And what's mobile phone called? Mobile phone is called mobile phone. All right. So we've got the correct naming conventions there. Capital E for email, capital M for mobile, and of course, first name with no space, no underscore, last name, no space, no underscore. Perfect. So let's jump back into our SSJS. We have first name, last name, company, email, and mobile phone. Good-o. And now we need those values. So mobile phone will be the mobile phone. The email is the email, the company is the company. And of course, we have our first name and our last name. Those are 5 fields, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields we're creating. Double check that with our overlay here. Create Salesforce object, and we want to specify the number of fields to add. All right, so we need 5. There we are. Now to do this, of course, with our SSJS and our AMPscript, we need to use some SSJS compliant syntax. So the first thing is our double quotes here are used to specify this as a string. And within this string, we're going to be specifying some values from our leads object that we just retrieved. Now to do this, we have to make some concatenation of this string. So the first thing is our first name is going to end here. Then we end our string, go plus, and we're going to do something with some SSJS code. We're going to plus and start our string again. This is a concatenation, so it's going to be using string and then some JavaScript and then some string and so on and so forth. So our SSJS here that we want is to put in the first name from our retrieved row. And as we're cycling through these rows, we of course want to put in each value. So it's going to be leads is the object we're referencing. And it's going to cycle through, starting from 0, each of the rows it retrieves. And we use square brackets to specify which row to retrieve. I, of course, being a variable for our for loop. So for the I row, we're going to return back the first name. The first name in our data extension in stage is called first name, lowercase and with an underscore. So we can then go dot first name. So from the leads object on the I row, the field called first name goes into our JavaScript piece here, concatenating into our string with a single quote either side to make sure it's shown as a string in the final payload as well. And we can copy this same structure by copying this piece here and then going on to our last name. So last name, we're going to paste, and again, leaving the single quote on the outside, then double quotes, and then plus leads. It's not first name, it's going to be last name. Here we are, so last name. Now company, what we want for company? Now we used the JB for the previous one. Let's make the company this time SSJS solution, SSJS TikTok. There we are. You got that one. And now for the email is going to be what? Well, we can again paste leads and it's email. What's the email field called from our data extension? It's called email, lowercase. So email, lowercase, and then mobile phone and paste. And as a mobile phone in lowercase, it's phone underscore number from that object. So we paste in for mobile phone, it's phone number. Then of course we come to the end of our script. So that's the end there, yes. And that's the end of the function. You can see if I highlight just the bracket at the end there, it highlights it. Go back across, we can see there it is there. So I'll create Salesforce object, making a lead object with 5 fields. First name is this value, last name is this value. Company will be SSJS TikTok. Of course, I could make it whatever I wanted. Email will be the email and mobile phone will be the phone number. All right. So with that variable set inside of our JavaScript, I can go to my next line. Now here I can use that treat as content function. So let's jump into here. We can go treat as content. Here it is here. And treat as content, we can provide a string. So let's get our platform function treat as content, copy that and paste. Now our string to treat as content is going to be AMPscript. Now for this though, we can't just spit in AMPscript. We do need to put in a AMPscript code block to make it work. So to do this, we're going to use a little function. I'm going to go single quotes, and we're going to go /%/%, which means it's going to cancel out those parts of the code. It's going to hide those. And then we're going to go start the square brackets, just like that for our AMPscript code block. Then go plus, and of course AMPscript, our variable that we just specified. plus, and then again, we're going to use another string at the end, square brackets, and then once again, cancelling out percent, cancel percent. There we are. So we're going to treat as content our AMPscript code block, just like that. All right, now with that done, we should have a lead all ready to go. That's our for loop there. That's ending our try function, and then we can, of course, catch an error if it occurs. So that all done, we can now save this script. Let's clean it up just a little bit. There we are, looking good. We can check our syntax, make sure there's no errors, and JavaScript's looking good. All right, close that off. We'll go next, next, and save. And there is our new SSJS TikTok saved with our log at the end. So let's go back now and clean up our data extensions, because right now we, of course, do have an existing record in our stage and our log. So let's save our automation. We'll go back into our data extensions, back into our lead capture. Let's have a look now at our stage has one record. That's no good. We want to make sure we clear off our stage and test our solution end to end. So let's clear our stage. And once that clears, back to lead capture and 0, perfect. Back to our log. Once again, go to our records and we'll clear our log as well. Clear. And so now we should have 0 records, which means our whole solution at number 3 should work. It should pick up our form field, it should compare this against our log, find the difference, the stage, put it in, and then of course we're using our stage as our source for our SSJS, just there. With that done, we've of course saved our automation and we can go run once. Now before we press run, though, we'll do one last thing. I'm going to jump back into my Salesforce CRM, go back a page. I'm going to delete the existing lead. I already have my Jane Doe test lead created. As it loads in here, here's our Jane Doe. We don't want Jane Doe, we want to make a brand new lead. So I'm going to go in and delete Jane Doe. There we are, delete. So now there's no Jane Doe, there's no leads for today, it's all gone. Let's now go ahead and start the automation, select all activities and go run. So the automation is now running and it's completed the first couple of steps and hopefully complete. All right, I'll go refresh and almost done. Perfect. So if we jump back into our data extensions now, we should see 1 in stage and nothing yet in the log. Oh, completed. All right, we should see 1 record in each. So I'll go back, refresh, and hopefully 111, all complete. All right, that means we should be able to jump back into our CRM now. We should see the results of this completed SSJS activity, which is a new lead being created with our SSJS TikTok as the company. Hopefully, so go leads and refresh. And we do, company SSJS TikTok, perfect. So jumping into our lead, a brand new lead created, SSJS TikTok, and it's all looking good. Fantastic. Now, as I said previously, the great thing about this solution is that the SSJS activity using the AMPscript function to create Salesforce object does not cause an activity to trigger inside of Marketing Cloud, which means there is no contact record being created for the throwaway TikTok lead ID. We are simply sending a string of data through the Marketing Cloud connector into our Salesforce CRM to create that lead, which is now being created and will come back down through our synchronized data extensions into our lead data extension. On to the 4th solution, and all we're going to change here is the SSJS activity. We're going to keep the stage and log functions and just change how we use our SSJS. You can jump in and edit the activity, and all we would be doing is changing the AMPscript piece here. We wouldn't be using the AMPscript create Salesforce object function. We would instead use the SSJS post or get functions, depending on the third-party service we're going to send the REST API to. Again, to do this, I could use my SFMC companion, jump in here and do a post call. I could choose a HTTP post in SSJS. I can quite simply use one of these existing payloads here to trigger a post call into my third-party service. And again, you could use this into your Salesforce CRM. You could also use it into a loyalty engine or a data warehouse. The great thing here is you have the flexibility to cycle through your rows in your stage data extension and fire those records directly into that end service through the API. One thing to consider, depending on the size of your business or perhaps the popularity of your TikTok lead ads, you may want to consider running the activity more than once every day. The SSJS retrieve function, which I'll get back here, is only going to work up to 2,500 rows. Now you could do some additional script in here, so you can cycle through the first 2,500 rows and the next and so on and so forth. But to make things easier, you could just trigger the SSJS function in the automation to happen every 4, 6, or 12 hours. That way you should never go above the limit of 2,500 for your data extension's SSJS retrieve function. And there we have it. That is 4 possible solutions of how to get your TikTok or Facebook leads from Marketing Cloud into your Salesforce CRM or third-party loyalty CRM or data warehouse. I hope you enjoyed today's video and you get some good use out of your TikTok and Facebook lead ad integrations. If you have, then please let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to give the video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when I release more Salesforce Marketing Cloud content.